Hey there, welcome to the Million Dollar Marketing Show. I'm your host, Jodi Sodini. Dive deep with us into the marketing maze where we're going to tackle the big business questions head on, share expert insights, and crack the code on what it really takes to take your business to $1 million and beyond. Whether you're a battle-tested entrepreneur or just stepping into the arena, this podcast is your arsenal for strategies that hit the mark, expert advice that you can bank on, and of course, a good laugh or two. So grab your drink of choice, settle in, and let's get ready to turn your business into a powerhouse together. Hey guys, I am so excited to be here with Tyler, and honestly a little bit nervous because this is my first episode. I've been wanting to launch a show or a podcast for so long, and all of the reasons that got in my way, right? Like we always make excuses and reasons, but I just wanted to say hi, and Tyler's going to be interviewing me for my first show. How fun.
Jodi, nice, I'm so excited that you are taking this leap and doing this because I've gotten to know you a little bit over the years, and I know that you have an amazing story that has led you to being an amazing ads manager and running a business and doing all the things that you do, but so few people know about that. So I'm just going to ask you some questions so that your audience can get to know you a little bit. Is that okay?
As long as you're nice.
I promise I will be nice. Zooming way back in your life, when was that first moment that you realized that you were an entrepreneur?
I don't think this is a hard question because I don't think I realized it at the time, but looking back, I understand now. And that was the moment in college where I changed my major from occupational therapist to being a paramedic.
Yeah.
And my college advisor was like, you know, those are the crazy people, right? And I'm like, I'm one of them. I really am. So, you know, at the time, I don't think that meant like the crazy ones are probably also like that entrepreneurial personality type.
Right.
One of my favorite people in the world, Alex Sharfin, literally wrote the book on that. And it just describes me to a T and most of my paramedic friends.
Well, I think that's interesting. So Alex has some great quotes. And one of the ones that I personally love the most is he talks about if you've felt the call to contribution. And I think that's what's interesting is, you know, paramedicine is a very empathic driven care, right? You're a first responder. Your job's to come in and solve problems fast. So you made that switch and you did that. Do you feel like you felt that call? Is there that little beacon in your heart that's like, I need to do more?
As far as like in the paramedic
world, just in your life, just as Jodi. Yeah. Okay, cool.
I mean, I was a full-time paramedic and was working one of 4 full-time paramedics on a specific response company and decided, hey, I'm a full-time paramedic and single mom. Why don't I also go to fire academy and become a firefighter? So it was literally a call to do more, right? Because I had my brothers who I was working arm in arm with on every call. You know, they'd show up and I'm like, oh, I want to do that too.
Yeah.
And so it was always that feeling of if I feel stagnant and like I'm not growing, I feel like I'm dying.
Yeah. I know that feeling for sure. So this is a very natural career path. Occupational therapy major who decides to become a paramedic, who then decides to become a firefighter, who then decides to launch an ads agency. Very normal. I hear it all the time, right? Let's zoom forward. How did this happen? How did you end up deciding or, you know, getting into ads management?
Ads management came along after starting my business as just like a general virtual assistant that led into being like a technical or marketing virtual assistant, you know? So when it comes to, you know, pixels and custom conversions and all that, like landing page builds, all that stuff, like that's all stuff I did for a long time before I was like, oh, you have an offer. The only way to sell that online is to get traffic to it. I'm helping you build out your funnels. Why don't I also help you with your traffic? So it was kind of like the next, you know, the next right
that
thing.
Makes sense, which is good. There's way too many people I know that are ads managers and they run agencies that have never run a business and they've never like spent their own ad dollars or even understand the funnel. So like how important is it to you to being a great ads manager, to understanding the entirety of how the business works and how a funnel should work and how all these things play together?
I think it's imperative. I think it's not optional, right? Because can you hear that?
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's part of the story. Who is that? What's going on?
That's my 2-year-old who just woke up from his nap. He's very angry that my door is locked. And my husband's probably on his way up right now because he's got the monitor. So it will stop. In fact, I hear the shushing, so it'll stop. But as far as understanding the holistic approach to ads and a business in its entirety, it's huge, because if you're just simply bringing in leads and you're like, oh, I got you leads, hope, have fun with those, but they're not converting on the back end because the quality's not there. Like my clients, they don't care about cheap leads, because what they really want is conversions. And if I can't bring them conversions, they don't care. They'd rather pay $10, $15 for a lead that another ads manager might be able to get them like $3 cost per lead, but they're not converting on the back end. So,
sure.
We're always looking at the back end, high level or FG or whatever, to make sure it's working all the way through. Yeah.
So you said that you started doing some VA work, you started doing some assistant type stuff. But again, walk us through that. You were in a very different career path. Mm-hmm. What led you to make this big change?
Yeah, huge life circumstances. I developed 2 autoimmune disorders, and I had a pretty severe shoulder injury and knee injury while on the job. And if you think about it, the people that call 911 are not usually the healthy, fit people. It's usually the overweight people. So I was on a continual daily basis lifting very heavy loads. And it took a toll, cars that fall into a ditch and we're having to navigate steep inclines, and, my knee gets injured. And so I left the career completely unknowing of what to do next. I ended up driving for FedEx for a while, delivering packages. I was like, I can drive. So it wasn't hard. It was actually fun. And then I went and worked for a brick and mortar virtual assistant firm that is in my town. I had never heard of a virtual assistant before, had no idea. And I go in there, I start working. They're like, hey, we want you to learn this platform called Infusionsoft.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one to start with.
I know, right? Had literally never heard of that before. And, someone showing me how to build a campaign and how to send the emails and how to, organize tags and all of that stuff. Little did I know that was going to be something that was going to make me a lot of money. Because I remember sitting there like, okay, yeah, that's easy, whatever. Like I just picked it up really fast. The hardest thing for me was working on a Mac instead of a PC.
Sure.
Never again. I'm totally a PC girl. So I ended up leaving that job. Actually, I got fired. I got fired because I had my now 10-year-old was younger, he was still breastfeeding. And so I was like having to pump and all that jazz. And my boss was like, there's just a lot of things taking you away from your desk. And I was like, yeah, but I'm like legally protected about that. So we got to be careful here. And he said, well, did you know that you could do this from home? And I was like, what do you mean? He said, you could actually start your own business. He's like, so I'm still going to let you go. But you should try that. I was like, okay.
That was like a gentle breakup. Like
it was.
It's not you, it's me. But there's someone out there better for you, right? That's what that was.
Yeah, it totally was that. So I literally went home, built a website within a week, had a client within my first 2 weeks, and replaced my income within 2 months. Like I don't know. I just went and did it. It failure was not an option. Yeah. And because I knew Infusionsoft, I was able to get started right away with some pretty big Infusionsoft projects. So
it's a high value skill, because when you have a very confusing software that runs so much of someone's business, it's nice to know how to use it. So I want to give you an opportunity to give some shout outs. So from that point where you said, I'm going to build a website, I'm going to get started, to where you are now, where you're running a very successful ads agency, you've probably had some mentors. We've talked about Alex Sharfin. Who else along the way has either in real life or digitally or just through their books had an impact on you?
Well, I mean, I know we talked about Alex, but I definitely hey, Alex, I've been in Alex's text messages. We've been in Messenger together. I've been able to hug him a few times. I absolutely look at him as like a father figure. He's there for me in some of the lowest moments. And I don't know. He like speaks to my soul somehow. I don't know how he does it, but he's always given me the exact advice that I needed, even though I didn't want to hear it.
Sure.
Again, like a father.
Yeah.
So huge shout out to Alex Sharfin. Let's see, other big mentors and people I've looked up to, definitely Julie Chanel. I'm in the Digital Insiders Mastermind, and just having Julie sort of like in my pocket, right? Because we've got Voxer coaching included, and being able to go to Julie with not just business stuff, but she truly cares about me as a person. And I look up to her for so many reasons. Number one, she's navigated some really like messy life situations with so much grace. And number two, because she is just a phenomenal marketing mind. Like, she just knows her stuff. And so I just really love and appreciate that.
Absolutely. When you look back on, what's your learning type? Do you like books? Are you a podcast person? How do you like to consume information?
Definitely a podcast person, or like, I'll Google something and watch a video, probably only like bits and pieces of it, because I really look at everything as it's all figure outable.
Sure.
Like, I can figure this out. So that's kind of how I've built my whole business. And let me tell you, onboarding new team members when you've just been like figuring it all out, it gets a little tricky. You have to figure out what's the process.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. You got to hire the kind of people that can help you with that too.
right.
So when as you've been doing this and you got your agency started, how long ago was that, by the way?
First started my business in 2014. So it's been 10 years.
Awesome. Congratulations on 10 years. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
What was your first big screw up? Like, what was your first big major mistake, and how'd you overcome it?
My first big major mistake was merging my business with a coach and entering into a very, very, not great business partnership. Yeah, that was
So what'd you
major.
learn from that? Without going into the details of it, what was like, how did you grow because of it?
Yeah. Definitely I learned that I don't have to tell my story. Time does. Time tells the story for me. And being quiet and maintaining integrity is more important than trying to tell my story.
Okay. I like that. So how have you applied the lessons from that failed partnership and those challenges into what you're doing now to make, Sodini marketing bulletproof?
Oh, I love that. We definitely take on that premise of under promise and over deliver. I think things can get really messy really fast when you promise so much and can't deliver on it, or, are late on everything. So the under promise, over deliver, our clients have been really, really happy about that. And then also the alignment. One of the biggest things for me, and big shifts I've made even just in the last few months, is making sure that I'm in alignment with the clients that I'm working with, that if their business model or their offer is something that I don't agree with or believe in, I can't really put, all of my faith into that working. Like, I'm going to just say it. Like, if I don't feel like God ordains that business, that it's in alignment with my faith and my purpose, which is to bring glory to God, then I can't work with someone if they're doing something that doesn't align with that.
And I think it's important to know those principles, to be honest and transparent with them. I think no matter what it is that's guiding you, if you're not in alignment with that, you're going to feel issues and you're going to have challenges building momentum. What's something that you've done in the company in the last year or so that's really made things better?
I have gone from multiple ad managers working for me, like paid per client, to hiring full-time employees. And that's made a really big difference. Every single person that's ever worked for me, they've never quit. I don't have high turnover. They love working with me. And so it wasn't about that. It was about I was having to manage so many people. And let's be honest, like different people optimize things differently or like, set things up differently. And
Yep.
I really wanted a standard way of doing something, per se, just so that I could look at things and understand what was happening very easily. And so that was a big move for me, is hiring full-time employees as my ads managers rather than just people that were working like onesie twosie accounts. So.
I like that. And I personally have experienced that too, right? Like having someone who's truly on the team and bought into the process and the systems is something that it makes it so much easier to sell and be out there, committing to a client what you want to deliver to them. So I think that's fantastic. If somebody is just finding out about you, this is maybe this podcast is the first thing that they've interacted with you on. It's the first time they found out who you are. What's something that you really want them to know?
That I always operate from a place of honesty and integrity and transparency. That, for me, like radical transparency and being accountable, it means a lot. I say what I'm going to do and then I do it. And I know my team members are the same. We've built an incredible culture of that radical accountability as well. And so I think that's a huge thing because it's so easy to go find an ad agency that can promise the ROAS or show the data, or we've worked with this big name person, but there's a reason why they're not working with you anymore. And so
Sure.
it's like, I don't want people to go fall for these big promises, pie in the sky things when, I don't know, it can be so much better when you have that integrity and transparency and accountability and people that like just do what they say they're going to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. When, who is somebody like a business or an expert or industry leader who you would just absolutely love to work with, and why?
Well, my answer would have been Alex Sharfin, but he just shut it all down. God. So I'm naming names here, huh?
If you want to, I mean, or a type of business. If you're not in the, if you're not wanting to call it out directly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of like the big like Christian authors, influencers in that space, speakers, things like that, like John Maxwell level sort of thing. I think that would be an incredible opportunity. I have worked with some people that are on the Maxwell leadership like coaching team, and like that was as close as I got to him, but super cool.
Awesome. Yeah, the first time I kind of was able to have one of my mentors become a client, it was really neat. And but you got to call it out there. You got to put it into the ether, right? And bring it into you. So what you've got a great story, you've got a great arc, and I'm really excited that you're doing this podcast so that people can learn more about what's going on. Real quick, I just want give your elevator pitch. Who are you and what do you do? We'll wrap the show with that. Yeah.
So I am Jodi Sodini, CEO of Sodini Marketing, and we help online businesses with their Facebook ads. We help achieve, 20% increase in profits on average or 3 or better ROAS. That's the normal for us here. And so we're helping with digital products, high ticket products, and creating intentional nurture sequences, even through ads, which is really fun in order to increase revenue and sales.
Awesome. All right. And last thing, why should people be listening? Why should people subscribe to your podcast?
I definitely think people should listen and subscribe because I'm going to be talking about what's working, what's not working, diving behind the scenes of like how we do things differently. Because when you underpromise, like saying I underpromise, it sounds a little bit like, eek, what do you mean? But also operating from that place of transparency. So I just want to share behind the scenes a little bit about my life personally here and there. Like you got to hear about my story. So definitely stick around. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the $1 Million Marketing Show. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into the world of marketing, make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you never miss an episode. And hey, if you're feeling extra generous, drop us a review and spread the word to your fellow entrepreneurs. Your support means the world to us, and it really helps us reach more entrepreneurs just like you. Until next time, remember that in business, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. I'll catch you on the next episode.